Sabah everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I have for you, in my opinion, one of the best AMD Ryzen systems that you're going to see on the market. We're going to be running a system that's going to be great for gaming, great for video production, which is 90% of what I do, is basically play games and do video production. But at the center of this entire thing, it's going to be the Ryzen1800X CPU that we have here. This is going to be the best that we have from Ryzen at this point, and it's also comparable and a little bit better than the 6900K from Intel. That's about twice as much for price. Complementing it, as far as the GPU, we're using the Titan X. This is a 1080 GTX GPU. It's going to be great. Of course, we need something to be able to handle both of those to give us the best power, and we're going to be using the ASUS Crosshair. This is an X370 motherboard that's going to be able to enable us to use not only the full potential of the 1800X as well as the GTX here, because it is Crossfire and SLI compatible, but it also gives us the ability to use the G-Skill RAM that we're going to be putting on here. This is the 16GB DDR4 3200. So definitely top-notch, a lot of great hardware. I want to say thank you very much, of course, to Newegg and Rosewill for providing me with a mid-tower ATX case here, as well as the 850-watt PSU that's going to be powering this entire little beast. And of course, we have Nocturnal here for as far as just cooling, and an OZC M.2 SATA hard drive to be able to give us super fast speed, boot up, and everything as far as running our operating system. So let's go ahead and check out how this system looks. The AMD Ryzen 7 CPU, this is the 1800X. It's an 8-core, 16-thread based CPU that is basically comparable to the 6900K Intel side, and that runs about almost over $1,000 worth of just for the CPU itself. This one's running at $499. Very nice CPU. It's overclockable. It runs stock at 3.6, going up to 4 gigahertz, and even up to 4.1 if you have the right cooling level. The box itself is very simple. There's no cooler or no stock cooler included with the 1800X. You just basically get the CPU. You just have to mount that directly on the motherboard. So that's why I picked up here the Noctua. This is a radiator-based cooler that we're going to be using to basically just make sure that everything is set up correctly and running good. It is AMD AM4 compatible, so you don't have to buy an extra bracket. We'll be able to mount this directly on the board. And it's going to be really nice because I was able to replace the built-in fan that comes here, the 120mm fan, with a Be Quiet fan, which essentially is a silent fan. Now, as far as the GPU, as I mentioned to you guys before, we're going to be running the Pascal system here. This is the Titan X, the 1080 GTX. Very nice, very solid. This is the Founder Edition. I was able to win one of these guys while I was one of the events from NVIDIA. Very nice, very happy to see. It's a solid GPU, one of the best one, the 1080 GTX model. You can see here right now, very nice. And the beauty about the motherboard that we're using with this, which is a Crossfire and SLI compatible board, we'll be able to run 2 of these or at least another video card. In this current configuration though, I'm only going to stick to this one video card, and then we're going to move on down the road when I do additional testing running SLI with the X370 motherboard. Now, when it comes to as far as the motherboard itself, I just want to mention to you guys, I'm going to be running the G-Skill. This is the DDR4 3200. This is basically the best RAM you can get specifically for the Ryzen-based CPUs, as they're optimized to run at the DDR4 3200. So that's going to be one of the best benefits here. The motherboard that we're going to be using for this entire setup is the Crosshair Hero 6. This is the this is the Ryzen-based motherboard. It's compatible entirely with this. Let's go ahead and open it up. Very nice, very strong hardware as far as what we get. Actually, if nothing else, this is going to be the top of the line based AMD Ryzen motherboard. I did already switch over the actual risers here for the cooler, and these are going to be compatible with the AM4 one that we have that we're going to mount. We have 4 slots here to be able to go up to 64 gigs of DDR4 3200 RAM. It does not go any higher than this. The other thing, we also have some nice casing here as far as the system. 2, this is reinforced, ACES reinforced for Crossfire and for SLI compatibility. Definitely very nice. And then of course we have, this is actually, I think this is the Supreme FX audio. This is very nice audio processing built into the board. And then on the back of this, which is going to be really, really exciting, let's go ahead and open this up. Let's look at right here. We're looking at approximately, so here we have 4, 4, 4, that's 12 right now, 13, 14, different USB ports. We have USB 3.1 here and USB 3.1 USB Type-C connector. We also have 8 different USB 3.0 and then 4 USB 2.0. Of course, we have a reset switch and ability of SPDF on here for audio, and then the different channels. Very nice motherboard. I think this is going to be the best option that you can get right now with all the things that you'd like to do with Ryzen-based hardware. A lot of options, a lot of good cooling, a lot of good customizations. Also, the ability to customize the LEDs here on the board will give us a nice look on the case. The entire thing is going to be running using the Photon 850. This is a Rosewill PSU. This has 5-year warranty. It's fully modular, very nice system from Rosewill. I want to say thank you again to Rosewill and Newegg. They provided me with this PSU as well as the case, the Mid-Tower ATX case, and I'm going to show you guys in a second. The main benefit of this thing is the full modularity of this. It has 850 watts of power, which should be more than enough to be able to not only power one GPU, which requirements about 600, and also be able to go to SLI down the road. Fully modular, very nice, quiet fan. This is the Gold series of Rosewill, so definitely going to be very good quality. Power switch, cable, and then at the end of the day, when you're not using those cables, because you're going to be using the super modular system here, everything is housed within this nice carrying case. You can put it away. We have a very nice sturdy cable, power cable, and everything is already zip tied and configured correctly, and you have cables up the wazoo here. But the beauty of it is, if you don't need it, you put it away, and that cable management is going to be super, super nice. The main thing you're going to notice, of course, is the tempered glass. This is a glass on top of glass on a steel frame. So to start it off, we have a glass panel on this end. This is a tempered glass, tinted, so you'll be able to get that nice effect of the case. On the back, we have the exact same thing. On the top, we have a magnetic grill that we were able to cover. Let me just remove this for you guys. So you can see here, we have a nice little grill on the top. We're able to also mount additional fans. There's no fans right now. And the grill, again, you can just remove it and clean it up if you want to set this thing up. And let's go ahead and put it in. On the side, we have this nice tempered glass. It's held by 4 different screws that you can actually remove by yourself. They are using nice stoppers, or at least kind of grommets here, or gaskets in the best way to explain them, to hold the glass. So even when you're taking out the screws, it's not going to just drop it for you. Just removing the last screw and then holding it from the top and bottom, and then here we are. The case comes pre-configured with 4 different fans. We have 3 different red LED fans. You'll notice there's a red dot right here, and this red dot indicates that this is the red color of this case. It does come in 3 different colors. There's a blue one as well, and it just really nice, has some nice really setup. On the back, we also have another tempered glass shield there. On the front, I'm going to show you guys real quick. We do have a very nice shield that's covering the front part of it that you're able to pop over if you'd like. And here you are. And let's go ahead and do it one more time. Here you go. This covers the front panel, which also has another magnetic shield that in front of the casing, in front of the fans. And you're able to use these, of course, to clean it up. And this is going to give some nice color effects. We don't have any slots or any openings for optical drives, as this is basically intended to be a gaming rig. And as you know, everything is pretty much downloaded at this point. We no longer need them. And if you do, you can definitely install or use some of these USB ports on the side to be able to run an optical drive as an external drive. Connecting them, very easy, and it stays on, and it will give you a very nice look. On the top, we have a few controls: a fan controller, low, medium, and high, microphone and headphones jack, power button, reset button, 2 USB 3.0 and 2 USB 2.0. So 4 ports on the front, and they're controlled from one of the controllers on the side. We have a very nice opening. This is where the motherboard will go in. We have a back end facing it this way. We have nice cable management options. So the PSU will go in here, and I'll show this to you guys from the back. We have a nice little panel here to cover the cables going into the back. So you're able to take this off. It's very nice. Cables will route directly through this panel from the inside here or on that side, and then it keeps them very nice and clean. Overall, it's going to be great for cable management, and then also the ability of getting that nice, really good see-through with the tempered glass cover. And you'll notice right away you have your fan controller that's built in here. It's connected to the top, so we'll be able to control it. I did connect the additional fan from the back all the way to the top, and we have the additional option of having more fans, of course. Cables on the side here, we have the header that gives us access to right there. So this is the hard drive audio, this is hardware audio, USB. This is obviously for your headphones and your speaker. USB 3.0 cable, as well as the little connector for power, LED, and reset option, and of course power for the fan. So this is going to be power. You just run it one of your Molex cables. On the bottom, we have the ability of mounting our hard drive. So this is going to be one of the drives. These are the 3.5 hard drives. It does come with a box of hardware. The option of mounting 3 additional 2.5 hard drive, 2.5-inch SSD hard drives here, so you can have an M.2 SATA, which is what we're going to use on the board. Speaking of the M.2 SATA, I am going to be using the Toshiba OZC RD400. This is a 512 gigabyte hard drive. that basically is going to be running at PCIe. This is with NVMe, so we're using PCIe Express 3.0 because we are using Ryzen chipset, and that's why we're using the full potential of this. And this is going to be definitely much faster than any of the other systems that you're going to be using as far as SSDs. So if you're using you're normally used to seeing 2.5-inch SSDs, those are fast, but these are lightning fast. So this will make this very fast. Last but not least, as I mentioned to you guys before, the PSU will fit in here and we're running cables through. It's going to be really good for cable management. Again, this is the back end of this, so we're not going to have to worry too much about it. But I just wanted to show you guys how it looks like. And at the bottom, we do have another filter here right under the PSU to cover where the fan is, so that we can have be able to kind of keep the case as clean as possible on the inside. We're going to need definitely a Phillips screwdriver. That's going to be what we're going to use to mount most of these things. Now, I took out the case, I took out the actual motherboard itself, so let's go ahead and take it out of this, and we're going to reverse it. And this is going to be our essentially the beginning part of building this this nice little setup. Now, as far as pieces and what we get, first and foremost, we do have the Ryzen CPUs, and we just have to mount and match the different pieces. The little triangle is matched right there on the right, so you have to put it in. It sits perfectly, and then you just bang, snap it on, and boom, we're done. The placement of the M.2 SATA hard drive on this board is a little bit different than some of the other X370 boards that you've seen on the market. It's actually sitting in this position. I've seen them in other areas where it's actually further in. So let's go ahead and take this guy out. And here we are. Nice. This is the OZC. Again, M.2 SATA, PCI Express, NVMe. Definitely going to be one of the faster options that you can get on the market. Sliding it in is pretty simple. This is going to be for our M.2 SATA drive. The only thing we need to make sure here is take out the two pieces. There's the cap and the riser. Here we are. There's the G-Skill. These, again, are going to be the best one. They are compatible with AMD Ryzen out of the box. I wanted to make sure that we got the best that we could. And again, these are DDR4 3200. So just keep in mind, again, if you're going to be building this on your own, always go with the same color, and they already kind of color-coded them for you. So if you're going to go with 2 DIMMs, you go the first and third. You're going to go with 4 DIMMs, first, second, third, and fourth. And as I mentioned to you guys with the cooler, I did go with the Noctura one. This one is basically one of the basic standard ones that you're going to need for when you're going to use it with a Ryzen chipset. So the cooler itself does come with their own brand. You can obviously use this one, or you can use your own preference one. It's a premium grade thermal paste or compound. Okay, so that'll give us enough coverage. So definitely learn the lesson here. The built-in pieces need to have the risers. It came with the kit. I just didn't install them at the beginning. So I just put in the plastic risers, put the longer screws that did come with the fan, and then now I'm able to basically mount perfectly now. And all we have to do is just tighten the screws. Go a little bit on one side, a little bit on the other. And here we are. It's actually mounted pretty close. I think overall we're pretty much set now. All we need to do is put this thing inside of our case. Here we have the case. The risers are actually already installed, 9 different connectors, which is what we'll need for this motherboard. Install the rear I/O port. I do want to mention to you guys that the motherboard does have the ability to have an additional Wi-Fi adapter that doesn't come built into it. So if you buy the adapter, I'll show you guys where it goes. These are the additional holes that you'll be able to use to run the wires for. And here we have it. The back plate is already installed. It looks pretty good. And here we have the motherboard ready to be aligned. All the holes, here we are. All the screws are already set up correctly in the right spots with the risers. So I went ahead and installed the motherboard itself. You notice that the fan is clipped in facing this way. I did put in the risers as I showed you guys. Connected the cable to the motherboard. The fan in the back is pretty much going to be running all the air out. This is going to be cooling it. The air from these 3 fans are going to be cooling it in. The RAM is installed. We have the M.2 SATA installed, of course. Then the motherboard now is connected. We have 3, 9 different screws here that we'll be able to use to mount and then make sure everything is set up correctly. Now on the back, we'll go ahead and install the GPU just to make sure that it configures correctly with the motherboard. One cool thing about the GPU option here is, or at least the board option, is that they're all listed pieces here, so you can actually remove this or raise this up, making it much easier to be able to mount specifically bigger and obviously bigger video cards. Here is the GTX. It's a big card, and as you'd expect, it needs a lot of room. So, oops, let's bring it up. And here it is. There's a piece of plastic that we need to remove to make sure that it doesn't melts when we're using it. The nice cooler here, the NVIDIA. This is the GTX Titan X, the 1080X Founder Edition. And then what we're going to do is just go ahead and mount it. I'm not going to run it in SLI yet, which would be able to use here, and it does actually come with the board. So first thing we need to do is remove the screws for this video card. and it sounds like it's going to be taking the secondary and third. Okay. We have our GPU built in now. We have 3 DisplayPort, HDMI, and DVI, of course, up, and we'll be able to run this full all HD as well as 4K games. Here is the Photon 850 watt Rosewill PSU. This has a 5-year warranty. This is the 80 plus gold, which means it's going to be silent. It's going to give us nice functional power, all the power that we need to power everything on this board, with the addition, of course, if we want to ever go to SLI. As I think the minimum requirements as far as the GTX is 600 watts, and this is 850. So again, power switch to the back, fan to the bottom, and then we'll be able to start connecting our cables. There is a couple of risers here in the back of the case, so it provides us some space. So we're not going to be using up the entire enclosure in the back, but it's going to have to be a nice fit, and then we'll be able to run some of our wires. So here we have it. The system is done. Looks really nice. I did have to correct the facing of the fan. The risers actually was installed incorrectly. So now that I have them facing in the right way, the airflow is perfect, and once I turned it on, it looks amazing. As you guys could see, all the heat sinks, all the lighting looks pretty good, matching the Ryzen setup. I am going to go ahead and add some more fans and do some more customizations, but definitely installing an operating system and setting it up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and subscribe as usual, and look forward to the actual benchmarks and tests of this amazing gaming rig.